There's a burning question tearing through the heart of every general partner right now. The ground beneath your feet isn't just shifting, it feels like it's cracking, threatening to swallow everything you've built. New capital structures aren't just a trend or a nuisance anymore. They are a tidal wave crashing right into the core of what gave your power and identity as a GP. It feels like you're losing grip, like every piece of your strategy, every relationship you relied on, is being throttled by rules and models made by people who don't really get you. And that isn't just frustrating, it's terrifying. Because what's at stake is far more than returns. It's your freedom, your legacy, your damn future. You're trapped between the rock of market demands and the hard place of investor expectations, while new capital structures stretch and bend the very meaning of partnership. What used to be straightforward equity splits and straightforward incentives now look like puzzles designed to bleed you dry. Carried interest hurdles stacked with layers of catch-up clauses, co-investment obligations shrinking your dry powder, new fee models slicing off what little margin was left. You're not just being managed, you're being shackled. The old playbook? Toss it aside. The rules? They've changed. The system is graying into a faceless machine determined to neuter the edge, to squash the risk takers, the rule breakers, the very soul of what it means to be a GP. And yet, somewhere deep in the chaos, the rage, the sleepless nights, a quiet truth screams to be heard. The victim mindset is the new cage. Breaking free isn't about waiting for regulation to soften or for LPs to wise up. It isn't about begging for a seat at a table that's rigged against your kind. It's about seizing back your power by outsmarting the very structures that aim to cripple you. The first step? You've got to see these new capital structures not as barriers, but as complex puzzles begging to be deconstructed by those sharp enough to do it. Here's a brutal truth that few will say. Your advantage lies in mastery over complexity. When other GPs freeze in fear, paralyzed by complexity, those willing to roll up sleeves and decode the fine print will come out stronger. Instead of being overwhelmed by layers of waterfall tiers, multiple hurdle rates, and retroactive carry clawbacks, you learn to wield them like weapons. You dig into the math. You simulate every scenario. You reverse engineer every capital call and payout schedule. You spot the loopholes LPs pray you don't find. This isn't just survival, it's domination. You turn obscure contract clauses into leverage points to carve out new economics that favor you. The market wants compliance? You give them compliance wrapped in strategic advantage. But none of this is a solo game. The isolation that many GPs feel, cut off, misunderstood, sidelined, is a lie the system feeds you to keep you weak. The solution isn't to grind harder alone. It's to forge alliances with the right few who burn with the same fire you do. Other GPs, renegade investors, bold operators who reject comfort and complacency. Create your own autonomous network, a private, fiercely selective circle where raw, honest knowledge is shared without fear, where power isn't diluted but multiplied through radical collaboration. Inside this network, you exchange not just intel on capital structures, but strategies to reshape the entire flow of capital. Threads like joint co-investments that rewrite the economics in your favor, swap deals that optimize cash flow timing, and even co-GP partnerships to stack influence and control. This is not cheerleading or networking. It's a movement, quietly building out of sight, bending the market from the edge. Now here is where many stumble. They think they must fight capital structures with aggression alone. But real power comes from ruthless selectivity and patience. You don't have to conquer every LP or plead with every investor. Instead, take a scalpel to your relationships. Align only with those who get your style, who recognize the value of your edge, and are willing to play a long game. The quick check isn't worth the slow strangulation of misaligned partners. You create partnerships that fuel your fire rather than snuff it out. And with this hyper-alignment comes the freedom to innovate capital structures yourself. Design them to reward your incentives properly, to match risk and reward in ways the old models never allowed. Custom-built vehicles, creative distribution waterfalls, and preferred return models that protect your carry and dry powder, engineered to fit your real strategy, not some watered-down industry standard. The desperation that some GPs feel about dry powder shrinking and fund economics squeezing is understandable, but it also masks a bigger, sharper truth. You are being asked to fit into a broken mold. The answer isn't to fill that mold, it's to break it. Why settle for structures designed for mediocrity when you are playing the high-stakes game of transformation. Push back by innovating around capital formation. Think revenue-based financing arms. Think rolling fund structures that move faster. Think blended vehicles that unlock new investor pools without sacrificing you. Shift beyond classic limited partnership lines to incorporate operational partnerships and long-term strategic alliances that embed deeper leverage across your portfolio. Capital isn't a wall, it's a puzzle, a system you can bend if you understand its shape. Ask yourself this: what if the problem isn't the new capital structures at all? What if the real threat is believing that yield comes only from what the market allows, instead of creating new structures that make the market orbit you? This is about transcending limitations, about dancing on the edge of disruption instead of being pinned against the wall. This is about harnessing that restless strength inside you that refused to accept being another cog in the investment machine. The chains of old structures break not when you plead for reform, but when you build something unprecedented, something powerful enough that others have no choice but to follow. Deep down, there might be a voice whispering that this path is lonely, that breaking from the herd means walking a razor's edge between risk and ruin. That uneasy tension inside you, that fire, that's not a bug. It's your compass, your call to arms. The system thrives by masking its fragility behind complex jargon and false security. It begs you to settle, to conform, to blend in. But the truth is in the rebellion. Out here at the edge, where rules are questioned and old assumptions dismantled, that's where power is born. Where you find your real freedom. Not freedom as a word, but freedom as a life you design with fierce intent. So what must happen next? First, wield your sovereignty ruthlessly. Don't let anyone define your worth or clip your aspirations through stale, outmoded structures. Be obsessive about digging into every contract, every clause, every capital call. Run the numbers till they scream, till you can smell the opportunity hiding in plain sight. Second, build your circle fiercely. Align with a few others who burn just as hot. Refuse superficial network noise, and commit to reshaping this together. Third, invent relentlessly. Capital structures aren't your enemy, they're your raw materials. Use innovation to reclaim margins, power, and influence. Fourth, embrace the long game. These changes won't happen overnight. But patience favors GPs bold enough to play beyond the next fundraise, beyond the next quarter. This isn't about surviving the storm. It's about becoming the storm, shaping the future by wielding structures others fear to touch, by connecting brilliance with strategy, by turning isolation into unstoppable force. The old game is over. The new rules are yours to write. It won't be easy. But the business of a GP, at its core, is mastering chaos and emerging stronger. So own it. Own the pain, own the fight, but most of all, own the breakthrough. The system forgot the exceptional, but the exceptional never forgot the system. It's time to rewrite the rules on your terms, and no capital structure can hold that back.